Pushing feedback, please.
I know this is really nitpicky, but on the handout that I gave to you, your question that was about women, what was the job distribution for women like, and the wording was kind of funky on that. And if you look on mine, I circled it and kind of said, I don't know, I started to edit it a little bit so you can look at them.
Oh, yeah. Number 1, you mean, working
Yeah.
sources?
Yeah.
Maybe on this front page you could put the illustrations at the bottom and then what happened up top, because I started writing in the box, and so I got confused, even though it says illustrate, but so got confused. I did.
It would be cool if you add, is there a spot to like add the bullet points about the different things and then you went back to draw later? Or were we supposed to, I guess it's a clarifying question. Or were we supposed to be drawing while you were?
Yeah, I think just a little bit clearer directions on that. I thought I liked the activity. I thought it was good drawing and stuff, and I think you should include it, but just a little bit clearer on the directions of what we were supposed to be doing would have been helpful.
Maybe asking the students like what they put in their box, like what they drew about.
I thought the statistics of the charts were really good. My only concern, looking at it from the teacher, is how much experience are they going to have looking at material like this prior to this activity?
And that's a good point. And one thing I did like is like, you give them and you take them away. So what I really did like was that you actually had a chart, a graphic that was kind of quantitative literacy in your lecture notes. And what you then did was you kind of said, oh, you can see this, you can see this, you can see this. I'm like, oh, I can? Well, why don't you ask me, what do you see, kind of thing. And I thought that one or another version of that would have been a superb model. So that's what I thought you were initially doing. I thought, oh, he's already modelling quantitative literacy now to read like a chart or a graphic, And that would have been the point, maybe the first time, to give them a chance to say, even if you did you doing like a think aloud, you could have even screened it ahead of time or recorded it ahead of time. So this is what I'm looking at, this is what I'm paying attention, this is what this tells me. And then do a second one where they can see it. I think you'd have set them up really well, because I was hoping you were going to have a model in there, or the first one again would be a kind of model that you could have. Because these are pretty good, accessible ones, but I think they did need that step in, that modelling to go on, and that could have started from what you see, how I would have done it, to then get into practice one as well.
Yeah, I thought that one thing, I noticed a few cool facts that they might not have noticed. I think one of them was, I think the wealthiest 5%, wealthiest 10% thing was confusing. We didn't notice it for 3 minutes, and then we realized, wait a second, the 5% is within the 20%. And so kind of making sure that they know that, and then there's another interesting thing.
We started to correlate between graphs.
Yeah, maybe it's something that would help them think about using more than just one.
Could you do prompts then? So you're thinking about maybe some prompts afterwards or something?
Something like that. I felt like it was, and it is the middle school level, and so it doesn't need to be very high level, take all of this and write something, but kind of looking at all of these, can you
at least some kind of differentiation for...
Right. So could you then maybe say, we had a couple of graphs, they had a couple of graphs, you had a couple of graphs, and then it's the teacher who plays the kind of, tries to develop a resonance in that way. So we kind of answer them, each one, and then there's a period where he has to then play that leverage. Well, what are we seeing when we get it all up there or something? I don't know.
I don't know what it would look like at all.
Or think about it. I don't know. Or something, how could we do that? What would that look like?
If everyone had different graphs.
Well, what ways can we make those connections, or help students make those kind of connections, kind of thing?
Well, a simple way is formatting. If that's something you want to touch upon, is make sure that to the graphs that you want to draw a connection to on the exact same piece of paper, which allows them at least the chance to possibly make the connection.
Right. And then if you're building an explicit prompt, it's not about possibly anymore. It's you're asking them to make a connection.
And maybe even the connection, like maybe like the base of it would be like they would do this on their own, and then you come together, you got the grass on the board, and you help flesh out through question and answer relationship how things correlate. So it's not them define; it's very scaffolded. They start understanding how to do that, and that way, you get down the road, you can give them the charts.
That's really nice. I mean, you could even say, he could say, I see, looking at these two graphs, I think you're both infer, or, this is what you'll see. Explain why I think you're going to see this. So you actually give them the connection and say, right, where is that evidence for that? I believe that this graph showed this, this, and this. Prove it to me. So where's your proof? Prove me wrong. That's a great, actually a nice one. Stump the chump, prove me wrong, or whatever. You can play that a few times. That's nice. I do think that there's so many nice things in here, and I think there's just certain like structural pieces. I think just like switching it around and things like that. I do think the formatting, you're trying to save paper. I was hoping that's what I was pushing for. The idea of like making connections between a few. You can't put them all on one page. It's like setting up a multiple choice test and it's all badly formatted and it kind of throws people off. But having the prompts, having the questions, choosing which ones work, it'd be cool. I do love the illustrations. I thought that would have been this kind of one here would have been a great way to differentiate. One of the options could have been to do a sketch for closure, for that to wrap as well.
I thought that would be a great closer in terms of that.
Yeah.
Just looking into everything.
So I think it really resonates.
I thought this is kind of more back to warm feedback, but I thought there was a nice differentiation of activities.
Yeah. Any more pushing feedback, folks? Would you like to say something to Brandon, Curtis?
Well, I was going to ask him to do his warming feedback tailored towards the class that he was in, since he knows all the students and that stuff.
Oh,
That's okay.
sorry. Well, you should.
I mean, it is like it's different enough that they're going to tell that you came up with it, but it's similar enough that
They're going to be comfortable.
they're going to be comfortable with it.
Because, like,
Because the biggest thing is he doesn't. I don't think he does lecture. Like that's really like he does some activities and stuff like that, but it's all in this guise of lecture. And so trying to get out of that is difficult.
and the quick notes, they know when they see quick notes to write. It's like it's Pavlov, like that's what they do. So that's so that, and I blew through that lecture. I was half the time I actually planned for it, so that kind of screwed
I thought it
me.
was good.
See, but that's. I think that I didn't want to spend too much time. I thought I could have been maybe talking a bit too fast.
Okay.
The illustration, once I passed it out, I was like, I probably should have put that towards the bottom. Because I actually, in my notes for the PowerPoint, I meant to say, tell them that when we're done filling out the quick notes to go back to after the war and illustrate, but it kind of passed me by. How do you, I guess I'll ask a question, like, did you like going over them, or would you rather just turn them in? Because that was kind of me killing time, because
I like to
do you
go
think
over
for
make sure that
seventh
they
grade?
make the right correction,
Yeah,
make
and I think for middle school, I think that's kind of key, going over it.
Because that also is going to encourage them in what they're doing.
Yeah, and it
They
always
need
just
that.
reiterates the information that they're learning, or you're hoping that they're learning from it.
And I like the idea of having a table, then asking a question, then having a table, then asking the question. When I'm actually using Charles's copier, I'll use all the paper I want. So I'm not worried about that. I'll just have to like reformat it, make it look cooler. I'll look at the wording on the question for that thing.